Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Dear students, assalamu alaikum. I'm quite well and hope that you will be the same. And I'm also hopeful that you will take good care of your health because caring our health is our first priority in these days. Dear students, today we will learn about society and the types of society. So, what is society? Society refers to people who interact in a defined territory and share a culture. The term society has been derived from the word socius, which means companionship or association. So, these are the people who are living together, they are sharing a culture, and they have a specific way of life. There will be institution. That institution will be formal or informal, depend upon the kind of society um, through which that society passes. So then the phases of society or the types of society, which we are discussing in detail in coming slides. Primitive society or hunting and gathering society. The primitive society is the simplest of all kind of society, and it is also called the hunting and gathering society because these people, they were just doing hunt, and they were just gathering to cook or eat that hunt that they have done. So from the emergence of our species, from the emergence of Homo sapiens 3 million years ago until just 12,000 years before the present of all at the present, all humans were hunter and gatherers. The civilization, their ways of life were not such developed as we see today. Even in 2000, even in 18th century, there were also society they were which were hunting and gathering society, because all the society in the world, they are not passing through the same phases. Some society even today, they are in industrial phase, some are in post-industrial phase, some are living in informational phase, some are in agrarian phase, while other are in hunting and gathering phase also. If we look to the aborigines of Australia and others, the Ashanti tribes, the Karamojans and the Kongs, these if you observe their ways of life, so they are in, some of them are in primitive form, while other in pastoral form. So the first the first feature of the primitive, of the people in primitive society, is that they have little control over environment, because the environment is dominant here, because there is no technology as we see today. uh, there is no technology, and they could not control the environment. They were in fight with storms. They were more exposed to natural disaster, whether it from the form of storms or heavy rains. Those people who were living in the lush areas where food is plentiful to hunters and gatherers, their time is their leisure time. Further, it takes a lot of land to support even a few people. So hunting and gathering societies, these were small bands with few dozen members. They must so these people, they were small in number. They were living in groups, and they were not permanent members of that settlement. So they were nomadic, and they were moving from one place to another place in search of hunt. Uh, Further, based on kinship, kinship means they were relative. Their relationship was were based on their ties, on their blood ties. The family obtain and distribute food, protects its member, and teach the children. Everyone's life is much the same and is focused on getting the next meal. They are living simple life, and all they have the same statuses, not that much complex statuses as today, as today society, which is more specialized and more complex. There is some specialization related to age and gender. specialization is, but specialization here is in very minute form. The very young and the very old contribute what they can, or healthy adult secure most of the food. What the woman does, woman gather vegetation, the more reliable food source, while men take on the less certain task of hunting. Although men and women perform different tasks, most hunter and gatherers probably see the sexes are having about the same social importance. The hunting and gathering society that is more equal, where the status is, there is more equality in that society. This kind of society, the hunting and gathering society, have few formal leaders. They have most these leaders, their leadership, their authority was based on mostly on spiritual leaders who enjoy high prestige but receive no greater material rewards. And that leader was prestigious, but he was not taking material rewards in return, like uh, we will learn further in other. And who enjoy the highest high prestige but receive no greater material reward, and must work to find food like everyone else. In short, hunting and gathering society are egalitarian. Everyone have the same social importance in that society. If that is a leader, if that is the common man, if that is if that is on gender basis, male or female, or on age base, the older and the minor, the elder, they all of them they were doing their task, and that society was not too much specialized, and the leaders they were the leadership was based on their spirituality, and he was getting more prestige but not material rewards as the leaders they are doing today. There were simple weapons. They were using spear, bow and arrow, and stone knives, but rarely to wage war. Yes, their really real enemy, as if you see little control over environment. Their real enemy is the forces of nature. Storms and droughts can destroy their food supply, and there is little they can do in event of accident or illness. Such vulnerability encourages cooperation and sharing, and raising everyone's odds for survival. Nonetheless, many die in childhood, and no more than half reach the age of 20. So they were living they were living in vulnerable environment because the forces of nature were very strong, and they were having no defense mechanism to counter back, or to react back to the environment, because they were living in exposed environment where there were rains, droughts, storms, and other natural disasters. So the life expectancy, you can say that it was very low in the hunting and gathering society. Okay, moving further, the next phase after the hunting and gathering society is horticultural and pastoral society. 10 to 12,000 years ago, a new technology began to change the lives of human beings. People discovered horticulture. They use of hand tools to raise crops, using hoe to work the soil, and digging a stick to punch hole in the ground to plant seeds. Might seem simple and obvious, but horticulture was an invention that allowed people to give up gathering and power of growing their own. Here they were not searching randomly. They were there in their society. They were growing their own food for themselves. They were digging holes in the ground, and so then that was become a kind of their profession. Human first planted garden in fertile region of the different region of the world, like the Middle East and in the Asia. Within some 5,000 years, cultural diffusion spread knowledge, and horticulture uh, spread throughout most part of the world. Not all society abandoned hunting and gathering in favor of horticulture. Hunter and gatherers living amid plentiful vegetation and game probably took little note of new technology. They were not in need of the new technology because they were living in places where there was the availability of food for them, so that was not a great matter for them. Then two people inhabiting arid regions, the fertile regions, the agricultural regions, or mountainous areas, found horticulture of little value. Such people turn to pastoralism. Pastoralism means the domestication of animals, the domestication of plants and animals for personal, for familial use. Today, society that makes horticulture and pastoralism, they are living in South America, Africa, and some part of the Asia. Domestication of plants and availability, what changes it brought? It increased food production. So society could support not dozens but hundreds of people. Pastoralists remained nomadic, leading their herds to fresh grazing grazing lands. They were nomadic, and they were in search of uh, food for their cattle. So they were moving from one place to another place. And horticulturalists, by contrast, formed settlements, moving only when they depleted the soil. Joined by trade, these settlements formed society. Though horticulturalists, they remained settled. They were not moving from one place to another because they were waiting for their crops to ripe and to get its fruit. So they were not moving from one place to another. They were they will change their settlement only in situation when soil depleted or other issue comes to them. These societies are more specialized and complex than hunting and gathering societies. Once a society is capable of producing material surplus, they were producing surplus material for themselves. So more resources then are needed to support day-to-day living. Not everyone has to secure food. So some make crops, engage in trade, cut hair, apply, uh, or serve as frees compared to hunting and gathering society. Then horticultural and pastoral societies are more specialized and more complex. Domestication of plants and animals make simpler societies more productive, but advancing technology is never entirely beneficial for them. Horticulturists and pastoralists have more social inequality and in many cases engage in slavery, protracted warfare, and even cannibalism. As some families produce more food than others, which got relative power over others. Like in hunting and gathering society, these were egalitarian society. Everyone was having equal status and role. But in this kind of society, in this space, they are getting inequality. There is inequality. Why this there is inequality? Because some have possessed more material, other have less material. So mm, as some families produce more food than other, they assume position of relative power and privileges, forging alliances including marriages with other elite families allow a social advantage to endure over generation. Along with the social hierarchy, sub-government backed by military force emerged in pastoral and horticultural society to shore up the dominance of elites. However, Without the ability to communicate or to travel over large distances, a ruler can control only a small number of people, so there is little empire building. The rural society or agrarian society. These society emerged about 5,000 years ago, um, and that is called agriculture society because there is large scale cultivation using flow of hands to animal or more powerful energy sources. So great was the social significance of the animal drawn flow and other technological innovation of this period, including irrigation, the wheel, writing numbers, and use of various metals that this era qualify. So this society it is more advanced than horticulture and pastoral society because there the men have used certain skills and uh, which were very very innovative and very unique in comparison to the previous societies. This society have more specialization than previous societies, using the animal drawn plows. Farmers could cultivate fields vastly larger than the garden size plots worked by horticulturists. Now the farmer he is growing more crop and he is irrigating and he is cultivating large piece of land than the horticulturists Flow have the additional advantage because it is a kind of technology that this phase have a specialty over other phases. The flow is making the soil uh, have additional it has additional advantage of turning and aerating the soil to increase fertility. As a result, the farmer is getting more results. Farmers work the same land for generation, which in turn encourages permanent settlement. Now able to produce a surplus of food and to transport goods by using animal-powered wagons. Now there is a bit there is the development of transport system also because the farmer is using horse-drawn carriages for what for transporting his uh, putting his goods. His or her agrarian societies greatly expand their land area and population. Then increasing production means more specialization than previous society. Tasks once performed by everyone, such as clearing land and securing food, became a distinct occupation. Specialization also made the early barter system obsolete, and money became the standard of exchange. Because money made trade easier, cities grew and their population soared uh, into millions. Agrarian society exhibits dramatical social inequality. The more the society moving on, the more the society goes up, the more there comes social inequality. Why that social inequality happens? It happens because of possessions, because of land holding, because of other factories holding. So agrarian societies exhibits dramatic social inequality in many cases, including the United States. Early in its history, peasants or slaves represent a significant share of the population. Freed from manual work, elites can then engage in the study of philosophy, art, and literature. In agrarian society, then, elites acquired unparalleled power. Uh, they acquired that power for work to maintain control of large empires. Leader requires the services of wide range of administrators. Thus, along with the growing economy, the political system emerged as distinct sphere of life. The society is moving on, and the next phase is urban society or industrial society. The production of goods using advanced source of energy and to drive large machinery. These kind of society, like the current society, the United States, Canada, and other rich nations of the world, they are in this case. With industrial technology, industrial society transformed themselves more in one century than they had during the past 1,000 years because of production, because of technology, because of innovations. They are changing their lives dramatically, and changes are happening more. During the 19th century, railroads and other ships, they revolutionized the transport system, and uh, steel frame skyscrapers wrapped the cathedral that symbolized an earlier age. Industrial society draw people from their homes to factories. In the in this society, automobiles further changed Western society, and electricity powered modern conveniences such as lighting, refrigerators, washing machines, electronic communication including the telephone, the TV, the radios, the computer, and so on, making the world seem smaller and smaller and converging the world more and more. Industrialization draw people away from their homes to factories situated near energy sources and filled with large machinery, and workers industrial workers are more productive, of course, but lost in the process are close working relationships, strong kinship ties, and many of the traditional values, beliefs, and customs that guides agrarian life. So the industrial setup is more, uh, the system is more value. There is no control of norm and value over the people in industrial society because everyone is chasing his or her rational thinking. So if they are doing so, so then the collective way of life, the collective consciousness become uh, weak for them. Specialization became more pronounced than ever. In previous society, the specialization was not that much developed because all of them were of the same kind in their work. Industrial people size up one another in terms of their job rather than calling their kinship ties. Rapid change and movement from one place to another to also generate anonymity, cultural diversity in numerous subcultures and counterculture. So specialization and to look different has became the fashion of industrial or urban society. Industrial society gave industrial society reacts to family system. How it reacts to family system. The agrarian society, the agriculture society strengthened the family system. Why it strengthened the family system? Because they were mostly farmers, and uh, because there was no such technology, so all of these people they were dependent on each other, and they were doing collectively their farming. So joint family was the uniqueness, was the specialty of such system. But now in industrial society, everyone have to move away from the family for his or her work, to chase his or her goal, to chase the goal that he or her set for themselves. So the family system will be intact in industrial society. There will be quarrels, fights, and competition inside the family, not like that, as not like that cooperative family which was in an agrarian society. So the industrial society have put the family in threat. Uh, Further, the family no longer serves the primary setting for economic production, and the traditional family of divorced people is increasing. In industrial society, single parent family are emerging, and step families are in way to uh, develop. Thank you so much. If you have any query, if you have any question, clarification, or you have any suggestion, so kindly con- contact in your WhatsApp group. Thank you so much. Stay healthy and stay blessed.